Thank you for joining us for your parkerweather.info daily weather synopsis for today, September 23rd. Some of the headlines for today, we're going to hopefully see some relief for the southeast and look at the drought situation down there as well. Today we've had some serious flooding in the upper Midwest, and then we're going to take a look at newly named Tropical Storm Matthew. Okay, so right now we're looking at 300 millibar jet stream, and basically this is the 60-hour GFS model, so it's telling us on Monday night what potentially the jet stream is going to look like, and it looks like a low pressure will develop in Minnesota and begin to slide south. Now, this could be pretty good for the southeast as we continue to look in the next couple of days with the models. So we slide into Sunday morning and see that that low has slid into central Missouri, and then as we go into Sunday afternoon to Sunday night, that low is slid into northern Arkansas. And this could be good because it's going to bring a change in weather to the southeast, something that they really have not seen in a long time. And then eventually that low is really going to settle down into parts of western Tennessee and northern Mississippi. And then the same thing goes for that's going to be Monday night as it slides into North Mississippi. So it's going to bring a lot of potential action in terms of weather to that area. So if we go ahead and look at a different model, though, look at the NAM. And the NAM, this is the 60 hours of that first side we saw. And then we're going to compare the NAM and the GFS and see how they're aligning, see if they're agreeing, disagreeing in terms of the initialization. So go ahead and look at the NAM at the top left, and it has that jet streak, and then the GFS actually has that low already developing, and it is developed a little bit stronger as well. So the models aren't exactly lining up right now, but it usually will give us a good idea that something is going to happen when there is somewhat agreement. And then the ECMWF, the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast, also has something developing in that area. So we like to look at a lot of different models and see if there's a lot of agreement. This is the ECMWF forecast for that same time period, and this is 500 geopotential height, and also shows a low pressure developing. And then if we slide 12 hours later, that low digs a little bit deeper into the southeast. So right there, that's four different models that are showing four very similar systems moving through that area, so that's good. One thing we also like to look at is 500 millibar ensembles. And basically an ensemble is a bunch of models run at the same time, and it's going to show you how, if they're agreeing or not in terms of the 500 millibar heights. And right here you can see how those models are all really packed together so they agree. But notice if we slide it ahead about 4 days later, and how there are so many lines going all over the place and it's super disorganized, it's just showing you that there isn't that much agreement. So you want that tight pack just like that. So if we go ahead to the area in question for next week on Sunday night, it shows us that a lot of the models are agreeing that there is going to be a little dip and a potential trough will develop in the Ohio Valley. And then as we go just 12 hours later, a little bit of model disagreement at the bottom edge of that trough. But notice how for the most part, a lot of those lines are lined up together and they're showing a lot of good agreement. Well, this could be very good for the southeast because they haven't seen much rain and they've had a lot of drought issues. If you notice, that arrow is pointing at the sort of around the Montgomery area, and they're about 12.5 inches below where they usually are for this time of year of rain. And they also probably aren't going to see much relief. If we take a look at this, it's showing us that the entire southeast is going to stay about normal in terms of temperature, but from October to November and in December, we're going to be seeing less rain. We're going to be below average in rain, and then we're going to be above average in our heat that we're seeing. Well, we're also seeing a lot of flooding in the upper Midwest, and this is something we wanted to get to. If you notice, just massive amounts of storms across Minnesota, North and South Dakota, Iowa, that entire area, and they've seen a lot of rainfall, and it's brought some serious flooding into the area. We're going to take a look at a couple of the river gauges in this area. And on the Pipestone Creek in Pipestone, and that's about just to the southwest of Minneapolis, they've already broken their record for the flood stage. So basically they're at 24 feet now, and the record was 21, I believe I'm reading that correctly. And then the Norfolk Zumba River near Winnemongo, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is going to also break its flood stage over the next couple of hours. So these are just a couple pictures from some of the rain that's coming to the area, cause some sinkholes and cause drastic flooding. We're going to go ahead and take a look one more time at this loop of the radar just so you can see how much rain they're getting right now and how much rain they're going to be getting through the rest of today. Well, let's go ahead and slide down into the tropics, take a look at what is now Tropical Storm Matthew. Yesterday, we talked about an area of convection just north of Venezuela and Colombia and how it was going to potentially turn into a tropical depression, and you know what? It sure did. If you notice the area of rotation that's being highlighted on the screen, that is Tropical Storm Matthew, and it's expected to strengthen. So let's go ahead and go over a quick couple stats about it right now. It's moving west at 16 with sustained of 40, and it's expected to develop into a hurricane. Minimum central pressure of 10,006, and tropical storm force winds extend 35 miles outward. So the three biggest concerns are going to be storm surge, heavy rain, and strong winds as this storm moves into Nicaragua, Honduras, Belize, that whole area. A lot of the models are agreeing on its westward track into Central America. We're going to go ahead and look at some other models, though, and see what it's going to do potentially after it hits there. Well, this is the CMC, and this is the Canadian, one of the Canadian models, and it actually has it going through Central America and then going back out into the Gulf and going up into Florida. Now, one of the other tropical models, the ECMWF, which is also a Canadian model, has it going into Central America and then kind of hovering around the northern edge of the Yucatan Peninsula and becoming stronger. And then the last model we're going to look at is the GFS, and it has it pretty much kind of lagging, going a lot slower than the other two. So we're not getting great model agreement with the three models. So it's one of those things where it's really too early to tell, so we just need to keep an eye on it. We're going to watch a lot of trends with this storm because, as we've talked about before, strengthening tendencies can vary about when hurricanes go over the island. Well, thanks for joining us for your September 23rd weathercast. Be sure to tune in and check out our blog anytime for constant updates.